Hey guys, welcome to the video. I'm Michael from Sale Freaks. This is Wilf. I have 5 years experience or more dropshipping from Amazon to eBay. I'm now the owner of one of the best dropshipping softwares on the planet, which helps you automate your eBay to Amazon dropshipping. Um, oh, there's a sale that's just come through on my phone from eBay.
Good
That's
timing,
fun.
good timing, good timing.
Good timing, yeah.
And I am Wilf.
Uh,
I have basically just started, I think, about 2 months in with dropshipping, and we're going to try and take you along for the ride, basically. We've done one episode before this, um, which you can go and have a look at. We go through the whole process and why it's good, why we think it's a good
for
business model to
sure.
get into. But today, what are we looking at, Michael?
Yeah, we're going to have a look at some of the issues around when you reprice. What should you do if an item's not selling that well, or if an item starts to sell, to try and squeeze the most out of that item, to try and maximize your profits, basically, and hopefully get you to the stage where you're getting notifications like this, where I don't know if you can see it, but great news, your item has sold.
That is great
Which
news.
hopefully gets to the point where it's going to be annoying and you're going to want to switch those notifications off, basically. Um, so Wilf was just asking me today about how to change the profit margins, where to start off with, and how he can kind of maximize his profit margins. So Wilf, if you go into the global settings, let's show the guys how you can kind of set up your account in terms of your profit margin and what that means and so on. So when you're in Sale Freaks, the idea is that Sale Freaks wants to be able to reprice your item to make sure, number one, you're covering your eBay fees. So that is your break even. You're making sure that your eBay fees are covered, and then your profit goes on top of that. So super important because obviously making some money is the main aim of the game here. Okay, so when you go into your settings and into your global settings, you can go into then your specific eBay store and you want to set your final value fee, your eBay, default eBay fees are in and around sort of 11, 12, 13%. Some of those eBay categories can even be like 7 or 8% in some cases as well. So it's always good to have something sort of at around what Wilf has it at here, which is around 12%. You can have a little bit higher, a little bit lower if you want. You just need to keep an eye on your profit. So the next thing is we want to know how much profit we're making on top of our cost of goods, our fees. When we buy the product, this is what we're going to be left with essentially. So the Sale Freaks repricer profit range makes you have a low end and a high end basically. So it means that we will reprice you against the competition. So if someone's listing this product, for example, at 10%, we can actually price that at like slightly less than 10% basically because you have a margin here, Wilf, which is 6 to 14%. Now, if there's no competition on the item, it will push it towards the higher end. And if obviously there's a lot of competition, it will go as low as 6% and not a penny lower to try and make you the cheapest, to make you the most attractive on there.
Why wouldn't you maybe set your low end to like 2%, do the most sales? Why was that? Why would that be something to avoid?
So 2%, let's say for example, 2% is your lowest margin on there. You're making 2% per item. One, it's going to be very, very low on even the cheapest items, like the 5 points, the 10 points. You're going to be making a very, very low amount per sale. Plus, this isn't repricing you against all the costs of your business. So let's say, for
Yeah.
example, you're paying your Sale Freaks fees, you're paying for maybe an eBay store fee if you don't have the free listings on a personal account. And let's say people even take in other factors into consideration when running their business. So let's say you've got, maybe your broadband to pay, or you've got the analytics subscription, or you've got a business phone, or you've got staff to pay, or whatever. So you've got to look at that 2%. It's going to get eaten up very, very quickly.
Yep.
And then especially if you get to the stage where you're paying taxes, for example, or you're going back registered, that 2% is going to be eaten away. In fact, realistically, you really want an average of a minimum of like 7 or 8%, especially when you get to the stage where in the UK, like your VAT registered or tax registered and things like that. Now you can use other methods like cashback credit cards or discounted gift cards you can buy online and gift card exchanges and things like that, which is going to add on some extra profit. Now, in some cases, just like all retail vendors, in some cases you'll have like loss leading products. So there'll be products that sell super, super fast, but it's really, they're just there to kind of get your foot in through the door into that supermarket or into that shop to make you basically with the view that they're going to make you buy more stuff once you're in there. You're not just going to lift that product and walk out most of the time. So like similarly with eBay, like I was saying in one of the other videos about the traction and about making sales. So in some cases, it might be a good idea to drop your margins as low as 2 or 3% in order to kind of kickstart that item and get some traction, get some sales history on it. And this is what we're going to look at in the video in terms of there's certain times when you should lower your margins and there's certain times when you should put your margins up. So within the Sale Freaks reprice or profit range, you can set your ranges to anything. So you could set it from 6 to 20, 10 to 20, 10 to 30, whatever. And it is sometimes going to be a little bit of playing around. So what you list your product at, first of all, might not be what your product ends up at. So with this setting, you can change your default at any time, which means new listings will start to list at the new default, or you can change all your items in default at the same time, which means if you change and choose the second box down, this will change all the items in your account. Now, if you're looking to get, for example, if your goal with this is to make more money and make more profit on your selling items, then it may not be the best move to start making all your prices higher because the items aren't, because there's some items that aren't selling at the lower price. Therefore, they're probably not likely to start selling at a higher price. Like, vice versa. If you're looking to lower your margins to try and boost sales, there's probably not an awful lot of point reducing the prices on the items that are actually selling pretty well, because you're trying to drive the price of an item that's not selling down so that it'll start making sales. But what you don't want to do is drag your good items down to that price as well. They may sell more, but you'll actually be making less money. So what I like to do is look at the items that are selling and see is there room to move those profit margins up. And I like to do that kind of sometimes in bulk, but a lot of times, especially on, if I'm looking store by store, you can do it with each particular store. So, Wilf, if you can go and find me an item, for example, that's maybe sold. Okay, so this one has actually sold once. Okay.
Yeah.
So this particular item has been purchased on Wilf Store. And if we look sort of down the screen a little bit where you can edit a lot of the details, and we'll come back to this screen as well in other videos about other stuff that you can do to optimize your listing. But we're looking at this purely on profit. So Wilf's current profit on this item is £1.91, which in reality isn't too bad. I mean, almost £2 of a profit. That's probably more than average on most of your items. But if this particular product starts to sell, and especially starts to sell in multiples, what Wilf could do is move his profit margins up. Now, we actually changed the box to 7 to 14, so it moves the bottom end up from 6% up to 7%. Now, what I would do as well here, Wilf, is if this is listing this at the lower end, mostly, I would move the top margin down slightly as well. So I would change this to like something like 7 to 10. It's obviously sold at the lower end, but it's probably not going to jump to that higher end anytime soon. Like I said, price is off the competition. So it's obviously not, it's obviously trying to get you at the lowest price. Now, eBay's weird. You don't always have to be the cheapest to make the sales, but sometimes obviously you do have to be the cheapest to make the sales. And that sounds a bit gobbledygook even with me just saying it. And let me try and explain what I mean by that. If there's a lot of competition on the item and not a lot of sales traction on your eBay account or on this particular item, lowering the sales or lowering the percentage sometimes can just give that little boost in the eBay algorithm to say, okay, this guy's dropped a lot of his prices, and maybe give you a bit more visibility in order to get that first sale and start building that traction. But what you'll find is when you look at similar eBay listings, and we'll look at this more when we're doing some sort of like more like product research videos, you'll see a lot of the time that the person that's sold the most is never the cheapest or is rarely the cheapest.
Mm.
So when you start to gain traction and make sales, this is when you can put the price up. What you don't want to do either is you don't want to take this from 6% and jump it like to 20% or 10%. You want to nudge it up slightly where, you know, this extra 1% is not going to reflect too much on the actual price. It's not even going to reflect too much in your profits if you sell one of these at 7% compared to 6. But if you start to do this across multiple sales and across multiple items, then naturally your overall profit over a prolonged period of time is going to be more, and you're going to start maximizing your profits. So all you have to do here to change that one is you've got it in the box there, 7 to 10, and then all you need to do is click on save, and that will then reprice the product again on eBay. And hopefully the next time you make a sale on that product, you'll have a slightly higher profit margin again,
Mm-hmm.
which is obviously ideal. Now, as we mentioned, sometimes if you've got items priced within a range of 6 to 14, for example, and some of those items maybe don't have competition and more importantly, don't have sales. But let's say Sale Freaks is repricing those at like 13, 14%. It could be just outside what the buyer's looking for, just outside what the competition has. It's just not um it's not just sitting at the right level. So what you can do with those ones without changing all your products that are selling and making you money is you can go into the items page and go to advanced. And this is where we would filter down and find the products that haven't sold. Now, what I would suggest is um, if you list a product today, for example, we don't know if it's going to sell at 6%, 10%, 14% or whatever. So anything that you've listed recently, we probably just want to let those see how they get on. So whenever I'm repricing everything, what I would do is I would look for a creation time, which is down at the bottom, and I would put in something like 14 days, 21 days, something like this. Um, yeah, let's just go 14 days the minute, and then since 365. So basically, as far as we can go.
Yeah.
And then in the orders box, you've got orders, and then just put in 0 in there, 020, and that basically means that we're looking for products that have been listed for a couple of weeks. They haven't had any sales, and we might think about moving the margins down on these to try and kickstart them. Okay. So what you can also do here is what Will's doing. You can actually name the filter. You can click Save Filter and then name it. So the next time you come back in, it's actually even easier again. You just load your filter up and you view your items. So we can click Go and then we can click View Items. So this is going to show us no sales and they've been listed for 14 days or more. And the goal that we want to achieve here is trying to kickstart these items with some sales. Now I can see already here, Wilf's got some items listed for 74 days. And at some point, we're going to want to remove those items, or we're going to want to remove them and re-add them, or maybe optimize them and give them a chance. Okay. Because eBay even states that within the first 30 days of an item being listed, that is when it's most likely to sell.
Mm-hmm.
The further it gets past 30 days, it actually becomes least likely to sell. Not always the case. You could still have an item that's listed for 6 months and never sell, and then suddenly you get a sale on it. But we don't really want to get to that point. We want to basically, use every tool in the box as usual, and that includes doing what eBay like. So what eBay normally says, if it doesn't sell within the first 30 days, you can consider changing the listing, optimizing the listing, and then giving it another 30 to 60 days. If it hasn't sold up to 90 days, their advice is actually to remove the product, maybe optimize it again, and then actually re-upload it onto your onto your eBay account. So right now, what we're going to do is the first option. We're going to try and change something. So we're going to try and reduce the price in order to kind of kickstart the sales. And a lot of people get tied up, or a lot of people get kind of caught up in this. Why would I drop my margins so low? It's like these products aren't selling anyway, right? If they start to sell, at a lower margin, then we can think about putting it up. So if you put all these margins right now to like 0%, okay, we're not going to do that. But if you put it all at 0%, doesn't mean you're not going to make any money. You've still got your items that are selling at your respected desired profit margin. But all we want to do here is try and kickstart those sales. And when we start to see sales coming through on them, at that point we can then look at them one by one and start changing the profit margins back to where we're making some nice money on them. And they could be good profitable items. So before we bulk upload them, let's have a look at the item. Let's go into the top item, Wilf, and let's just see what it's sitting at the minute. So first of all, at the top, we can see the bin price, which is 16.69. We can actually see the next box down, which shows that it's got no competition or it's not an exact match on eBay, basically, with another seller. So therefore, if you look down to the current profit, Sale Freaks is repricing this item at the top end because there's no competition.
Okay.
Okay.
I see.
Now, we could put this to 0% and it still might not sell. That's just the way eBay and dropshipping is. Sometimes it could be the best item in the world, and for whatever reason, you just don't get that. You don't get that luck. You don't get that first sale. But what we always want to do is, one, when we're listing items, give ourselves the best possible chance at selling the product through basically what we know in terms of criteria, history on the item on eBay, and all that kind of stuff. So it's like an educated guess of, okay, someone else has sold it, we have a chance, basically, and it ticks all the boxes. So the only other thing really we have in our control is the price, and then if we want to optimize it or change the titles or change the description. So what we would do then, and this was just really to show you kind of the proof of how the repricer works in terms of no competition, it'll try and get the most out of it.
Mm-hmm.
We want to just jiggle it around a little bit and see if we can nudge some sales through. So go back to the bulk page and then select all. Okay. And then the beauty about this is with Sale Freaks, you can do this action in bulk, which basically will change all 500 items for you. So you can see there's various different bulk options, and we'll go through a few of them, and we'll go through these more on different videos and show you like the use cases of what we do. So the first one, what I want you to do in the top left-hand corner, Wilf, is the tag, okay? I want you to tag these products as something like
Unsold,
unsold, like reduced margins or something, or
unsold
something
margin change.
Yeah, something like that. Okay. And there is a method to the madness, because what we're actually wanting to do here is be able to search that tag later, let's say in 3 or 4 days' time, search the tag and see have any of these products started to sell
Right.
since we reduced the price.
I
So
see.
go ahead and click tag first of all. Perfect. And just click OK. So that confirms the action. Okay, so as we can see down the bottom here, date and time, we're tagging unsold margin change. Perfect. So the next thing we want to do is go into the profit range, which is over on the right-hand side. Okay, now all these products were listed at 6 to 14%. Now, most of them that have been unsold will probably be sitting at the higher end. There will be some at the lower end, but realistically, we don't want to go super low. We don't want to drop it much lower than 6%. What we want to do here is we want to nudge the ones at 14 back down by a few percent. And if there is some at around 6 to 7%, we still want to be able to nudge those ones down. So what I would suggest in your exact case where you have 6 to 14, I would then use something like 5 to 12.
Okay.
Or 5 to 10. Something
Let's
around
go
that.
with 5 to 10. Let's see how that works.
Okay. So then we're still going to hopefully come out with something around an average of 7 or 8%. Okay. So some that have 14 will drop to 9 or 10. And they might sell, they might not. Some at 6, exactly the same, might sell at 5, might not. I would like almost bet money here that like within 2 or 3 days, and we search this tag, we should see product sales. So let's go ahead and click on update. And then, yes, so that should appear in the bulk action summary down at the bottom there again. 502. Now, generally speaking, it'll take maybe an hour, let's say an hour or two
Hmm.
for Sale Freak system to reprice all these. And then normally with eBay, when you make a change, it normally takes like it normally takes probably like 24 hours for that system to it's kind of re-rank it again, so to speak. So this would be the first action I would always take when items aren't selling. Basically, leave the ones that are selling or consider putting the prices up slightly. And then the ones that aren't selling, try and drop them down a little bit.
So if we think about it, over half of my listed items were unsold here. So this could have a huge effect.
Yeah, I mean it should do, and this really is all learning. Like another tip as well would be I like to keep the repricer like at a kind of closer margin. So if I'm doing mine, I only tend to keep like a 4 or 5% gap in
Right.
between. So like personally, like in a lot of my accounts, I really like 7 to 12%
Hmm.
because I don't know why, but I feel like that sweet spot getting sort of 8 9% is where I'll get most like sales velocity. So someone with lower margins will get like a ton more transactions. Someone with higher margins will, yes, they'll make more profit per sale, but I like to sort of sit somewhere in the middle, if that makes sense.
Yep.
And we're going to run some tests with low profit versus high profit as this series goes along. We're going to choose some eBay accounts. We're going to run some different methods and really see the proof in the pudding because I don't believe any method's really bad, and I don't believe any method's really better than any other one. But different people like different things, and for me, I always think like if something's working, there's like there's room to do everything basically, and a mixture of those or like a hybrid kind of method, which seems to work quite well. But yeah, in essence, this is the goal of this is basically to drive some extra sales on Wilf's account and then naturally increase the profit margins later. And if you're running through all your profitable items, realistically, if those items are selling at slightly more profit, they should be offsetting the ones that start to sell at a
Yeah.
slightly more profit. And
True.
then
True.
everything should catch up with each other. And realistically as well, there's guys out there that don't touch their margins. They set and forget.
Yep.
And that's another method in itself. They're like, the range is the range. If it sells, it sells. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I remove it. I'll add more. So a lot of people are very hands-on, changing every single product. And then there's other guys out there that are just like, I just set my margins and I forget them,
Mm.
which is what I do on some stores, to be honest. Some of my bigger stores, I just leave them and don't touch them. But if I'm building a store and I'm growing like a smaller store, I want to keep it super lean and super high profits. This is the exact method that I would do.
Wonderful. That's super useful. I think it might be something I've been looking for quite a while, I guess. I think I've had a
Yeah,
few
and you're
goes
pretty
before.
early.
I think I've had a few goes before and maybe haven't got the search stuff right, but yeah, that looks like it's gonna be super useful, especially because I mean, 814 items listed and 502 of them needed that doing. So it's a good little sweep up we've had there, I think.
For sure, for sure. So I mean, even just talking about the SCR, like with eBay dropshipping, it's not like going out and buying 10 physical items where you physically would have to sell those 10 items. With dropshipping, we can list hundreds of items and we're not going to, if I list 100 items today, not all those 100 items are going to sell. So a lot of people often ask me as well, or I guess challenge me when like I could say, okay, here's 100 winning products that sell really well on eBay, and they list
Hmm.
those 100 products, and that person might not get any sales on those 100 products.
Right.
The next person might list the same 100 products, they might get 50% of those products actually start to sell, and sometimes it can just be down to luck. And then you give the opposite two people a different set of 100, and it could be the opposite result. It's just we have to make an educated guess of what is a good product. Okay, um, does it sell well on eBay already, or does a similar product sell well on eBay already? Is it like the right season for that product? Can it sell all year round? Does it meet, my criteria in terms of what profit margin or what prices I'm looking to get? Um, does it sell well on Amazon? Has it got good reviews? Is it being bought on Amazon? There's all these factors we can take in, and still we might not make a sale, or we could list that product and it could sell within 2 minutes. It's one of those things. So this is why I guess it does have to be a numbers game. And whilst you have 800 products listed there, your sell through rate's like 11%. So a crude kind of breakdown would be 11% of your sales are coming from, your 800 products or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, and that's fine. You would probably want to try and push that sell through rate up. But as we spoke about, you were kind of trying to get your APO up. So your average profit per order goes up and your sales conversion will naturally go down a little bit, which is also fine. Um, it's just about trying to find a balance and trying to
Yeah.
find that sweet spot, and
Yeah.
this will help because we lower the prices. Hopefully that'll jiggle a few sales, push your sell through rate up, and a better sell through rate and listing more products and actively trying to get more sales. eBay algorithm, they recognize all these things, and
Yeah.
it is just one element of it. And we'll keep continuing to talk about what sale free or what eBay likes and how to do that in Sale Freaks and really automate the process. So yeah,
Perfect.
I think we're good. We'll wrap
Wonderful.
this one
Good
up
stuff.
there and catch you guys in the next video.
All right. Cheers, guys.